The University of Detroit Mercy presents another brand new episode of Ask the Professor, the radio show on which you match wits with University of Detroit Mercy professors in an unrehearsed session of questions and answers. Today's program was recorded using Zoom video conferencing technology.
The University Tower chimes, ringing another session of Ask the Professor, the show on which you match wits with the University of Detroit Mercy professors in an unrehearsed session of questions and answers. I'm your host, Matt Mayo, and let me introduce to you our panel for today. Coming to you live from the reddest Japanese maple in the neighborhood, it's Professor Heather Hill.
Hello, one and all.
Your glasses make this like perfect contrast with the tree in the background. It's wonderful.
Well, as I was saying earlier, I tend to keep a pair of reading glasses all around the house, so different pairs. So I get them in packs of 3 from Marshall's. You know?
Mm-hmm.
We know you wear those to protect your civilian identity, like Clark Kent.
Okay. Yeah. Well, based upon some of the things I've been saying in front of the TV lately, you know.
Don't tell us.
Well, it looks to me like you, and we'll get to Mara here in just a moment, but you're enjoying this, to call it the tradition of using the term Indian summer is pretty unbelievable for early November here. It is going to be 70 for the next few days. Just absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
What a lousy time to take the insurance off the car.
You'll be driving again soon, Dave. Don't worry.
No, the old car.
Yeah, we all know what you mean. We got
doggone it.
The car.
Yeah.
Often we don't know what you mean, Dave, but we know now.
This time. I know. I'm blessed.
Still enjoying fall from the inside of her home library. It's Professor Beth Oljar.
My home office, yes, indeed. Speaking of which, if I don't get a new pair of glasses, I no longer will be able to read the Stephanus numbers for Plato, and that really is kind of hard when you want to cite a passage in Plato, because that's the way you do it. So my glasses are so bad now that if I don't get a new pair, I'm never going to be able to cite Plato again.
Beth,
Oh my gosh, it fate worse than death.
My suggestion is that you just sit tight for like another 12, 14 months, and our new school of optometry will take care of you stem to stern.
We're going to have a school of optometry?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
We
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Seriously? And we'll
That's
get
why we lost that building in Novi.
The Novi campus.
Surprise.
Well, I figured it was for other health professions or
Nope.
nursing or whatever.
Optometry and graduate nursing.
That's right. I've decided to call the Novi campus Campus North.
Because my glasses are really expensive, because my prescription is it's several hundred. Even when I get cheap frames, which I always do, it's at least $300 for me to get a pair of glasses. So
Have you gotten them at Costco?
no.
They have good deals.
Well, like I said, or you could just wait for it to become a part of your UDMPU contract. I mean, it's just...
And the hell with citing Plato in the meantime.
Beth, I promise if you need, any Plato cited, just smush the page up against the camera. I'll read it for you.
Get one of those page magnifiers, Beth. It sits
I
on
can
top
do
of the
that.
page and makes it big.
Oh, usually I just take my glasses off and hold the page an inch from my face.
Have the German Shepherd read it for you.
Oh, my gosh. We are also joined today by Professor Mara Livesey, also in the outside world.
Yeah.
Al fresco.
I absolutely am. And I have never had to cite Plato, not once, my entire life.
Well,
But you've played with Plato.
some of us live the good
That's
life
true.
in that way.
I have a lot of experience with Plato, just not that Plato.
So how is the weather in your neighborhood?
It's warm. I'm wearing a sweater dress today, and I regret that because I was dressed for my basement, not for the outside world.
Of course. Speaking of Professor Hill's point about glasses in every room, I feel like I've, at this point, left sport coats in every room of my house except for the restroom. And yeah, I totally understand that completely. Professor Dave Chow is here.
Pleasure to be here, as always.
I don't need to ask him what the weather's like. He's literally just a few hundred feet away from me.
Well, it's not too bad. I can't complain. So it could be worse. Now, I want to know what's going on with that backhoe or that construction equipment 2 doors down from you.
I was just going to ask. Yeah, apparently the demolition of that duplex on the corner is going to be imminent.
Really?
I think they were
Wow.
just waiting for the election to get settled, and then they were going to take the house down. You know,
I mean, I swear we have more construction equipment in our neighborhood than, than like most major cities, it seems like.
no, it's true. It's very true.
Unreal.
Oh, Berkeley, a city on the grow.
A construction city. I mean, jeez. Ugh.
Any construction happening over by you, Professor Dan Maggio?
No, it's been pretty quiet.
Okay, that's good.
So nothing really going on.
Aside from construction,
As-
are you well?
I am well. Work is, as always, is busy, and looking forward to a nice weekend. I think I'm going to take advantage of my zoo membership and go to the zoo.
Oh, what a
on
great
Sunday
idea.
And just
Yeah.
kind of
Ooh.
get my miles and my walking miles in, and see the animals that are not out and hiding inside, because every time I go, they're all, I don't know, napping or inside. But
Are you scaring the animals, Dan?
no, but the zoo is a great place. The membership is cheap, and you get to walk around. You get your miles in. It's great viewing, and it's great exercise. I love it.
I have not been to the Detroit Zoo.
But the penguin exhibit is closed, which is very disappointing.
That's
Oh, that is. Yeah.
We'll go. Beth, we'll go.
Okay.
Not,
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
not many folks who didn't grow up around here would know that the Detroit Zoo is a 365 days a year kind of zoo. My buddies and I used to go on random days off from high school during the winter and then attempt to find each other, because if there was snow on the ground, it's like old school pioneer, like trail hunting, because you can see everybody's footprints, because they don't have enough, resources to actually clear the snow. So you can go and just wander around. It's actually quite nice when people aren't there. It's very peaceful.
Just play Pathfinder.
You and the polar bears.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Matt,
Love it.
did you actually, I just attended an estate sale. They actually had a lot of the old Detroit Zoo exhibits in there for sale,
Really
which was interesting. The apes are Harambe sign, some of the Dinosauria stuff.
weird.
Actually, they had these huge ribs for sale.
Huh.
But yeah, just all the old Detroit Zoo signage. I'm like, going, it's neat, but where am I going to put this?
Yeah, I know it's neat, but where would you put it?
I wouldn't. So
I don't know if
That's
it's
awesome.
quarantine or just me, but that activity of trying to find people in the snow following tracks sounds like the most fun.
It's a lot of fun. It was in a turbulent time we called the early 90s. That's all I know. Professor Jim Tubbs is here with us today.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing, Jim?
Very well. How about you?
Pretty good. Considering this and that and the other, it's
Yeah.
right. I keep ticking off the days on the calendar, Jim. There's not much left of fall 20 semester.
Well, that may be a blessing.
When the virus numbers are coming in like they are, it's a definite.
Yes.
That's all I got.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
Doesn't everybody think we're going to be on a lockdown at some point in the next 2 months? I mean, I just don't see any other way to,
Hopefully.
well, yeah, it may not happen until,
Well, if we could
January.
enforce mask and social
People, they
distancing, that would
might
help a
have-
lot.
Yeah.
well, right. But but given that we haven't been able to get sufficient compliance with that, I mean, I don't know. I don't see us going from now until March
Right.
without another serious shelter in place
Yeah.
lockdown.
I think you might be right.
the lack of discipline is sad.
Depending on when the vaccine becomes available.
Right. That's the
Yeah.
main thing right
Yeah,
there.
those two things.
Well, folks, I'll tell you what, this is a program. You can send us questions regarding anything. If you stump the panel, you win a prize. If you don't stump the panel, you win a prize. You can send us the questions in a number of ways. You can email us at atp@udmercy.edu. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, or listen on your favorite smart speaker by asking it to play Ask the Professor at University of Detroit Mercy. Well, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, professors. I've got a set of questions here that I've been working on for a couple weeks. There's
Wait a minute. What am I doing in that?
You're blind as a bat. You need a German Shepherd.
Oh, Jack. Got it.
love it.
Sorry.
You
Just-
gotta make it hold a copy of Plato, though.
All right, fine. I'll add Plato to it.
The dog is reading Plato to you.
Oh, okay.
Fine,
Give me the
fine.
definite numbers.
Dog has glasses. Glasses on the dog.
So I've been working on a set of questions that may actually stretch out over a couple shows. I have a feeling that you're really going to enjoy them. The title is Eponymous Rules. So these are different things that have been named after people from all over the liberal arts and science and everything. And some of them are lighthearted and some of them are a little more technical, but let's just see what we can do with them. I give you the overarching blessing of the clue, which is that I put these together from a list that I found, which essentially comes in alphabetical order. So think of the first letter of the last correct answer, and you'll be able to sort of narrow things down relatively quickly. That also means, of course, we're going to start with A. Acton's dictum. Have you ever heard of Acton's dictum? You have.
Oh, yes.
You know what it is.
Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
That's right.
Yes.
The final line for the record of Acton's dictum is great people are almost always bad people. That is the last line. That covers a lot of ground, is all I'm going to say.
Well, there's a reason Plato thought you should give political power to the people who want it least.
Right.
They're the people who can be
The
trusted.
philosopher kings, yes.
That's
Well,
right. That's right.
The philosopher kings.
See, that's how they ended
I'm
Game
not
of,
sure he was right about that, but yes.
Oh. And that's how they ended Game of Thrones, which is why the ending sucked.
Lame.
They gave
Wow.
control to the brand who wanted it least. Sorry, I'll be ranting about that until I die.
But he was the wisest, so Plato would have approved.
He was wise. No, no, wisest is appropriate.
That was by far the best part of the last season. Everything else sucked.
Well, there was a lot less blood in that.
Yeah.
So listen to Andy and Bill's law. When a computer chip is released, new software will be released to use up all of its power within a year. Do you think you can guess who either Andy or Bill are?
Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Gates is the Bill. Andy is Andy Grove, who at the time was CEO of Intel, the chip maker.
Oh,
Okay.
They,
My hometown. That's where Intel is headquartered, Beaverton,
Mhm.
Oregon.
How about this one? Upward buoyant force exerted on a body immersed in a fluid, whether fully or partially submerged, is equal to the weight of the fluid that the body displaces.
Oh, that's
That principle named after
Archimedes.
Archimedes. Yes,
Okay.
that's Archimedes' principle.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Forces. Very good. All right, I'm pretty sure this is a softball, but it's still kind of fun. The first of these three is that a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to become to harm.
Laws
Asimov.
of robot dynamics
Yeah.
from
Isaac Asimov's
iRobot.
iRobot.
Yeah.
Yep. That's Asimov's 3 laws. So the first one is a robot can't hurt a human. The second one is a robot must do what?
Obey.
Obey a human, except for when it violates the first law.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the last thing is the robot must protect
human life.
Humans.
its own existence as
Oh.
long as it doesn't violate rule number 1 or rule number 2.
Oh, okay. Right.
So many rules.
So how does
Will
Hal
Smith.
fit into this whole thing?
Hal was a mistake.
He was a
Oops.
violation. He was a deviation.
He was a deviation for sure.
Hal blew a fuse somewhere.
It's actually
I'm,
a good movie. With
That
Will
is a
Smith.
great. That's a very
Yeah.
good movie.
Yeah. Looking in Professor Livesey's direction on this one, the empirical relationship of the absorption of light to the properties of the material through which the light is traveling. What is
Beer's
that?
Law.
Beer's Law. Beer's Law. That's right. Sometimes called the Beer-Lambert Law. We're getting better.
Sure.
You know that it would probably make all of you very happy to hear that we had a big-time speaker in the Department of Chemistry back in September who referred to Watson-Crick-Franklin pairing of DNA because
Good.
we no longer say Watson-Crick pairing of DNA anymore. So
So we're
Good.
adding, I take it, the heretofore unrecognized female scientists.
Yes,
That's
Rosalind
right.
Franklin. Hmm.
whose data was stolen, basically.
Yes.
Liberated.
Yes,
Well,
right.
They borrowed the pictures that she had created,
Mhm.
the images.
So Benford's law states passion is inversely proportional to the amount of what? Here's a hint.
Intelligence.
Interest.
Chocolate.
I feel like I have to give you partial credit, Mara. The real information available. So yeah, that's where we are right now, basically. So,
But we're disproving that day by day. Tons of passion with no actual information.
no, Jim. Passion is inversely.
Oh, inverse.
proportional.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
We're
how
seeing
about
that in this election for sure.
oh yeah.
So the more you know, the less passionate you are.
Right.
Oh.
I know you've heard this one before, but just maybe not in this way. Betteridge's law says any headline which ends in a question mark.
Not
Isn't
a
it
good headline.
Yeah. I'm thinking if it bleeds, it leads. I mean,
No, any headline which ends in a question mark is immediately answered as no.
Okay.
Oh,
Is Beth Oljar leaving Detroit Mercy? No.
No.
only
Oh.
in the National Enquirer because everything's no.
You should try it. I remember learning that in
I'm
high
not really
school.
sure on the truth of that question, but we shall see.
Try it for any headline you see that ends in a question mark. It's pretty hilarious because it's just trying to get you to click, right? I mean, let's.
Yeah.
Here we go. Let's. Too bad we don't have any of our biology members here today. Briffault's law. Briffault's law says the female, not the male, determines all the conditions of what?
shopping.
Mating.
Birth.
Somehow in those three steps we
DNA.
got really
I mean,
close.
Everything is innately female until
The
male
man messes it up.
along and
Yeah.
male in certain.
Mostly.
It's like leaving the toilet seat up.
Simone de Beauvoir. Didn't we do this quite a long time ago?
You know what it says, strictly speaking? Because I feel like I've got to give it to you. The female, not the male, determines all the conditions of the family. The corollary is where the female can derive no benefit from association with the male, no association takes place. That is true in all realms of the animal world.
Except when you have
Humans.
patriarchies
But
reinforced.
then the male comes in and determines the
Thousands.
sex of the
Parties.
offspring.
That is true. Very funny. Okay,
That's
how
why
about
we have marriage? Because men wanted to leave their property to
Right.
children that they were confident were theirs.
exactly?
Yeah, well, that was kind of enshrined in the Roman Empire.
How about see if you've been paying attention to your like forensic shows and things like that. That's your clue on this one.
Locard's principle?
Oh, getting close. Casper's dictum of forensics says the ratio of a time a body takes to fully putrefy is different for different substances. So the substances are air, water, and earth. How quickly does a human body putrefy when compared by ratio in air, water, and earth?
Smell okay.
So fast as in the earth, or in the water, I would
Do you
think.
need numbers?
No.
They are whole numbers less than 10, and Beth has it right. Earth is actually the quickest of
The fastest, yes.
Right.
Oh, I thought.
And then I'd
I
say
thought
air.
I
water
would
would
say
be-
water's last.
I'd say water's last.
No, according to Casper's
Air was
dictum,
last.
Air should be last.
Yeah.
last. The
Like
air
1-4-6.
The air water earth ratio is 1 to 2 to 8. So in
Close.
Wow.
Right.
8 times faster.
So why is air is 4 times faster than water?
Air is twice as fat.
Twice
air
as
is
fat.
half
Oh, you
as
said
much as water.
Slower.
1 to 2 to 8.
does that have to do with like the microbes or bacteria that are in each of those mediums?
But that's not true if it's very, very cold water.
That is also true. We can get the bodies washing up from like ancient times in Lake Superior, right, Jim? But
Anytime in Lake Superior.
But the bacteria that live in water are, to a certain extent, anaerobic, and that changes the ratio of how quickly a body can decompose. So,
Yeah.
So the lesson is, I better you bury my bodies in the earth. Okay.
At least
Well,
6 feet deep.
Yes.
I mean, those hermetically sealed caskets that they sell. I mean, the joke. I mean, that's so stupid because then the anaerobes will get to you. If the aerobic bacteria will not,
Yeah.
the anaerobes will.
right. Hey, when you hear the term Cassini's law, Cassini, and it applies to astronomy, what did Cassini study? What does Cassini's law say? What does it concern?
Stars, right?
Jeff would know this.
Not the stars.
Recurring asteroids or something.
I love how you immediately approach the heavenly bodies. It's just that you haven't mentioned the one heavenly body that Cassini's law corresponds to.
The sun,
The sun,
Black holes,
Pluto.
comets,
The moon.
asteroids,
Moon.
the moon.
moon.
the moon.
Yes, not, as we always say on this show, the only planet whose moon does not have a name, except for we call it the moon.
With a capital M.
Cassini's law provide a compact description of the motion of the moon. The moon does not spin on an axis. It just stays the same all the time.
So
That's
the
why-
dark side of the moon is always the dark side of the moon.
Always the dark side.
Ooh.
And forever one of the best albums of the 1970s.
And
Yeah.
of course, yes, absolutely. I bet at least a few of you could recognize the phrasing of Chekhov's gun. Chekhov's gun is a writing utensil, figuratively speaking. Do you know what it is?
Hammer
quill
for
pen?
writer's block.
I'm thinking Star Trek Chekhov. Wrong Chekhov, right?
Wrong Chekhov.
Is it
yeah.
Anton Chekhov?
I believe it is.
Not
Anton.
Pavel.
A fountain pen.
Pavel Chekhov.
Exactly.
A nice one.
Chekhov's gun would be used by somebody writing a story. It's most often, sadly, in modern times used to describe a story treatment or a screenplay or the book for a play. Why is it so important?
Ugh.
I thought this one was more common, I guess. It states that non-essential elements of any story cannot appear in the published form of the work. Like, get all the stuff on the side out. Every single thing that happens has to push the story forward. Otherwise,
Like a
Oh.
basic editor's principle. But
Gotcha.
here's one that I know you all know to some extent. Who formulated these three laws? When a distinguished but elderly scientist states something is possible, he or she is almost certainly right. And when he or she states that something is impossible, they are almost always wrong.
Mark Benvenuto?
Nice. There's a second law. That was just the first one. The only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to venture a little way past them to the impossible. And the one that I think that you all have heard in some form or another, the third one is any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic from the last generation. Who wrote those?
Was that a science fiction writer?
Carl Sagan.
Absolutely.
Was it Bradbury?
It wasn't Bradbury, it wasn't Sagan, but you're on the right track.
Oh,
Asimov again.
Heather already mentioned Hal.
Arthur C. Clarke?
oh,
Clark. It was Clark.
nice.
Clark's laws. Yes. Let's try again here. An inverse square law indicating the magnitude and direction of electrostatic forces. Basically, the physics version of opposites attract.
Isn't this Coulomb's law?
Coulomb's law. That's right.
Coulomb's law.
Yeah. Woo. That's awesome.
I knew that. Just saying. I
That's
knew
impressive.
Even with bad glasses, you knew that. So
that. No, it's in an article that I used to teach Hume, so I can't,
That's awesome. I think it's great that you have yet to mention Paula Abdul's music video from the late 80s as well. Opposites Attract.
Oh, the animated one. Love that one.
hmm
Not a big
Ooh.
Paula Abdul fan, but
This is wonderful. This is absolutely wonderful. In the long, long run of the Dilbert comic strip, of course, making fun of Fortune
workplace.
500 bureaucracy, Dilbert actually has a principle. The Dilbert principle states the most ineffective workers are systematically moved to the place where they do the least damage. Where is that?
upper management.
Up.
Management. That's right. Absolutely. Very well done. You didn't even, none of you even hesitated.
The cartoon version of what Marx means by the alienation of labor. I mean, you really couldn't imagine. At least the notion of cubicle world is a good is a good characterization of what he means by that.
Yep. So this is the one that gave birth to our list here, because I was reading up after a couple years of hearing about the Dunning-Kruger effect. Do you know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is? We all are affected by it sooner or later. It's a maxim from psychology.
I heard it recently. I can't recall it right about now.
There was a cartoon I was watching recently, not like a kid's cartoon, but something else. And the children were attending Dunning-Kruger High School, and it made me laugh out loud, named on this principle. It's a cognitive bias in which unskilled individuals suffer from illusory superiority. So you read one article and you feel like you're an expert in the subject. That's Dunning.
Okay.
This is like the entire premise of Socrates. Well, okay. I mean,
Well,
I'm not kidding, right?
No,
People
Beth, you're on the right track.
people
Because
make false claims to knowledge, and
Mhm,
A little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing.
that's right.
It's called being a freshman. That's also.
the
no, I
bias
told my
is
students,
attributed-
like, every time you hear, but doesn't it drive you absolutely mad when you are watching the news and some politician says, or anybody else, I'm not a scientist, but I'm now going to proclaim about that which I just confessed not to know. That's how the world works.
That's
It's
why I like
been,
that Biden ad where it says, he's not a scientist, so he's going to ask scientists.
Yeah.
The bias is a measurable thing attributed to a complete metacognitive inability to the unskilled to judge their skills. It makes perfect sense based on what you said, Beth.
Now
Perfect.
we're describing students, but
Yep.
All right, one more before we have to call it quits for this week. Gall's law, Gall, Gall's law says a complex system that works is invariably found to have evolved from what?
nothing. Something that didn't work.
Actually, I like your
Or
nothing.
inaction?
It had to start with a simple idea
Yeah.
that also
Okay.
worked, is the idea. But nothing is the beginning of all of that, as far as I'm concerned, Beth. So, yeah, that's pretty good. Very, very nice. Wow, you all did really well. I've got a couple more of these that we can maybe hack at our next show. But I think the time has come for us to talk about Ask the Professor favorites,
Uh-oh.
as my little sister used to say.
How many siblings do you have? You have a brother and a sister?
I have one brother, one sister. Yep.
Oh, okay.
What is your favorite thing that you found at a garage or estate sale?
Ooh.
Wow.
Did anybody find a copy of the Declaration of Independence?
Not yet. I'm still looking. Okay. For me, it was, well, I have friends who work in the estate sale business, so I've always got them scouring for me, the pre-sales. So I always find strange tiki mugs and things like that. So I've got a few little gems that, if I wasn't first in line, it'd be gone. That's all. So
Sure.
my mugs. So
My version of this is very, very boring. Just all year long, all I'm looking for is more Halloween decorations. And every once in a while, I'll find something that is clearly vintage, like 1940s. And I tend to not display those. I just save them, and someday they'll be worth something.
Do you?
I think my favorite was a small, it's a small chest of drawers. It's early American style, but it's oak. Very nice.
Nice.
I live in one.
I think Matt is secretly in his basement with his 1940s Halloween decorations. when we can't, spending time with them when, no one is around.
Never been more creeped out.
That's why I said it. The thing I got from you and Steven, that wonderful, it's that mesh cookware for the grills. So this is like basically a big mesh basket pan thing.
Oh,
that you can put veg and everything in. And
yep. So they don't fall through the grates.
Yeah. That's pretty
Well,
cute.
that's good. That's good.
My
Heather.
last dining room table set was a garage sale find, and I refinished it, but now it's gone because it doesn't fit in our house.
Oh,
No.
give it a good life.
We did.
How about you, Heather?
There is a place or a private home that sells a bunch of hostas every year in Royal Oak.
On Catalpa.
Yeah. You know where it is, right?
Exactly. We drive by it all the time.
I consider that a yard sale.
I agree. And of course, we would expect
Literally, right?
Literal yard sale.
Yeah.
I'm selling a whole yard.
Yeah.
Actually, I was gonna, if you want to, we've got Canna lilies here if anybody wants any.
Wow.
Got plenty.
If
So-
anybody wants them, it's Heather. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. Then I have to dig them up and store them in the basement. And man.
Well, if you want, I will also rent you space in our hoop house too. So I mean, they've
Okay,
multiplied.
We can put them in Matt's basement with the Halloween decoration.
So,
Yeah. Every dead body needs a calla lily.
Yep.
Like Jacqueline Vanzetti.
No, it's true. It's true. Just like in the cartoons. I'm afraid, panelists, it's time for us to say goodbye. Thanks for coming by today, Jim,
Goodbye.
Mara,
Bye.
Dave,
See ya.
Beth,
Later.
Heather.
bye-bye.
And now these words from University of Detroit Mercy. Ask the Professor is transcribed at the facilities of our houses, but we're still out of the Department of Communication Studies in the College of Liberal Arts and Education at University of Detroit Mercy. Ask the Professor is produced and technically directed by Michael Jason and Brian Masonville, and our executive producer is Professor Jason Roach. Until next week, I'm your host, Matt Mayo.